So, famous magician David Blaine goes on Joe Rogan's podcast and he's doing his crazy David Blaine stuff. He's eating glass, he's doing these incredible things. Joe Rogan doesn't seem to be that impressed until David Blaine shows him this simple card trick, just changing one card into another. Chris Ramsey, professional magician, was marveling at this. Why was Joe Rogan so amazed at this simple move, but he wasn't amazed at all of the crazy things David Blaine was doing before that? Understanding the fact that these tried and true, simple, foundational sleight of hand moves and tricks still amaze to this day, even for a host like Joe Rogan, communicates something really powerful about the magic art. This might just be the most important secret to card magic that you ever learn. It's a sleight of hand move. It can function as a trick in itself. It's a card transformation, a card switch, a card control. You can achieve all of this and more with this. This is where I recommend anyone start in card magic. And in this video, you're gonna learn how I do it, what my recommendations are after almost 20 years of experience doing moves like this while performing card magic. This is your guide to the double lift time. So a double lift or double turnover is exactly as it sounds. You are turning over two cards as though they are one secretly. So let's walk through it step by step. The first portion is getting those two cards together and ready to turn over. The second portion is, of course, turning them over. To get ready, there's a lot of different methods you could do, but I like the thumb break, or rather the thumb count that goes into a pinky break, because I learned it from the book Expert Card Technique, and I just enjoyed what it enabled me to do in terms of how it looked. So here's what that looks like. I'm counting down with 2, I'm transferring to my index finger here, and then I actually push down with my thumb, and it pops over into a pinky break. Here's another reason I like this, is it's really easy for me to do this with my thumb. Your alternative method, one of them at least, would be to pinky count. And as you can see, it's a little more of a struggle for me. So a pinky count is a route you could take and learn, but I think it's a lot easier to learn a thumb count and then transfer to here. So from resting point, we're counting down 2. We're pushing in, your index comes in so that the thumb can move and it transfers over. A little up closer, 1, 2, push in with thumb, index comes in so thumb can transfer and it pops into a pinky break. How cool is that? So obviously this move, like many card moves, is happening when the audience is not focusing on the deck. So if you haven't even started a trick yet, you can be talking to them and you can hold the deck toward yourself and get your break, or you can hold it down and get your break. It's a pretty subtle move to begin with, and that's why I enjoy it more than some push-off methods of getting breaks, but it's still easier than getting that pinky break. So that is one get ready to get you started with, is that thumb count to pinky break. Let's talk about the actual execution of the lift now. And to my knowledge, I owe a lot of credit of this to Dan Vernon. You could probably just bring up Dan Vernon in any magic conversation and it would probably trace to him somewhere. But the execution I'm talking about here looks something like this. So let's break that down and get into all the idiosyncrasies. So you've done your thumb count into a pinky break, and you're gonna come in with your dominant hand and it's going to reach under this gap. It's just reaching under the gap, grabbing the 2 cards. And the contact points are, your index finger is contacting sort of the upper part of the card, and it's really the driver. The rest of the fingers come underneath as support, and your thumb will pinch down. For me, it tends to pinch down on the middle. Something else we credit to Dan Vernon is, if you'd like to, you can push a little bit in, and that creates some buckle to the card. And I remember Aaron Fisher sharing about that and just what that does. So you can do that if you'd like. I don't add a whole lot of buckle. I'm not over pressing. I'm just doing a little bit of a glide across the deck and over. And instead of adding a bunch of buckle, what I do is I just let it go above the deck. So you may notice that as well here. So you're coming in, index finger is holding, thumb is going to come down. For me, it kind of comes over the middle finger, and you're kind of in a position like this. You're dragging this along the deck, and it's going to reach the bottom of the deck, and you're going to let it turn over, and I'm letting it turn over a little bit forward. So why do I do that? Well, that allows your index finger to come in, push in, and your thumb push down, so that, look, you're back at a break. So you have this very natural, look, here's a card, and then you're back into a break position. And I believe that's a Vernon touch as well, where you're able to re-access that break through the pressure you're applying there. So just showing that off from more of an exposed view. From the beginning, we're holding the deck in our dealer's grip. We're counting down with our thumb. And something else to add is you're kind of experiencing some pressure pushed up by the index finger is what assists in that. Flicking down with your thumb, pushing in with your thumb. Notice this motion here. Index comes in, thumb comes down, everything transfers over to the pinky break. Here's what that pinky break looks like. Coming in with the index finger, it's like you're turning the page of a book. I've heard people compare it to. Other fingers come underneath, thumb pinches down there, brush the deck, and the card comes over. From here, you're pushing with index and clipping with thumb, which allows the break to be reobtained. So then you can just turn the card back over. A general principle in Magic people tend to recommend is some synchronicity with your secret actions and your normal actions. So in this case, that would mean, hey, when you turn this card over, if you're going to turn the single over for a card change, for example, you might want to mimic that action. Now, in a lot of cases, I think that's true, but in some situations, you're going to be using a double lift or double turnover, and then you're going to be handing the audience member the card, or you're going to be placing the card on the table, right? And so in that case, it's fine to turn it over a different way. But I think the main idea was that we don't turn over a card one way and then create suspicion in how we turn over the card after that. So there's some discrepancy in there, and I think you could go multiple ways, but it's just something to pay attention to. If your secret actions are looking really, really fishy, especially when juxtaposed with your normal actions, you want to pay attention to that and make both look just as natural as the other. So what are some applications of a double lift? Well, if you've executed a double lift, then you can presumably control a card to the top, right? That's effectively a card control. So if you're able to portray a double as a selection, which is a topic for another video, then you can control that card to the top because you've never actually placed the real selection in the deck. Of course, this is also great for card transformations. Take a card, place it in the spectator's hand, have them snap, do something magical, and the card changes in their hand because you did all the work before. If you've controlled a selected card to second from the top, you can then go straight into your double to show that it's at the top, and then go immediately into another phase and show that it's at the top again. And that gets into some of that good, ambitious card stuff that you'll find in another video. You might find in this version that the cards separate at some point of the turnover. To assist in that, because I was just thinking back on how do I assist that, I tend to use my index finger to help them stay together on the landing. So it's almost like a turnover push. So you turn over and that index finger pushes in to help it be straight, and then you can continue that push in a moment, but you can do a little bit of a push just like that. So you're just getting used to that move. And there's even a, if you can see it here, a sort of catching of the index finger as it comes down to where it's not always flopping on there, although that's sufficient if it's staying together. But if you want, you can have the index finger be the first thing it contacts on its way down, and then you kind of move right into that square. Be sure to check out another video if you're enjoying these, and I'll see you next time.